for a private company. A private company is getting me out of a public building, even though I have the correct representation.
Really incredible scenes here outside the Education Department in Perth, WA this afternoon.
From the get-go of this coronavirus, I bought into the hysteria, the panic, and I made my missus wouldn't go outside without a mask. I wouldn't go outside without a mask. I was one of the ones. But then I looked into it, and then this is the result. Is I actually sat down and done some research, and there's studies. I've got over 100 studies that I'm going to present to the Education Department.
Hi everyone, I am Ruby's mum. She has been stood down from her work on the 1st of January like so many others, but she's 15 and her mental health took a staggering plummet. We ended up in hospital. We're still fighting mental health problems every single day, but she's here. On International Women's Day, my son's still wearing a mask because he would not ever step out of line. He's a conformist. He doesn't like to be stood out or stand out. And he has been wearing a mask to make them feel better. But if that comes to that, then he'll be out of school and I will be dealing with that over the next week. And I can't wait. I love this life.
I'm here with Kylie and Ruby. Kylie, can you tell me a little bit about the story you've just told up on the stage then?
So our story began probably 7 years ago. My son, who's 11, had his 4-year-old needles and developed epilepsy a couple of days later. So we came into this journey with different expectations or understandings, in that I was a bit concerned about him getting particularly maybe a vaccination. Last year my husband had a job promotion that we were supposed to move overseas for, and my concern about getting our children vaccinated, or that particular child vaccinated, escalated to him not getting his job straight away. All because of me. And in October that really escalated and I took on his employer, and we're still dealing with the repercussions of that. Earlier this year, so from October, the stress increased dramatically at our home. And then on the 1st of January, of course, the mandates came into effect that my 2 teenage children with part-time jobs lost their jobs, or weren't able to work as they were. So that we've dealt with that differently, of course. I left it for my children to decide, but Ruby did lose her job. It was currently stood down actually, or not working, or whatever they want to call it. On the 7th of January we ended up in hospital because of Ruby's mental health taking an incredibly deep dive, and that is still continuing. So she's now obviously not in hospital, but we have appointments every couple of times a week, and that has developed. So the appointments at the hospital, of course, if you're not vaccinated, they give you a different colour wristband, like a yellow Star of David. They escort you. It's very discriminative. That's something that's really against my values and my ethics and my morals. It's not really okay for someone with anxiety to have to be looked at or anything like that. I don't know what it does to other people, but I certainly know the impacts to my family. And like my eldest one has autism, they have this alarm that goes off to say it's time to go home from visiting hours, like at a children's hospital where people do have autism and sensory issues, and none of that's okay. But we come to a space that we're battling mental health every day, regularly for Ruby. For my youngest son, last week we got an email home from school about behaviour management because he wasn't wearing a mask. So the journey continues. We've sent that back with his medical exemption again. They told us on the first day of school that the Human Rights Association letter wasn't good enough and it had to be a medical exemption. I've got the medical exemption. He chooses to sometimes wear the mask because he doesn't like to be looked at or stand out. He prefers to conform and fit in. even though that's meaning that he's having longer and more seizures every night. And so we've now got to reinstigate medical appointments for that. This is costing us a lot of money to see a specialist. First you've got to see the paediatrician, then you've got to see the paediatric neuro, and then that's a fortune every single time. So there's a bigger impact to all of this. My husband has kept his job through his choice to be vaccinated. It wasn't really a choice, it was what he was told to do, and he did it, and he does what he's told, and he's an excellent father, and he's an excellent husband, and he's an excellent provider. But should it come down to that? And should he have lost his promotion because of a choice I made about our children? Because we don't work for that business. So, but certainly mental health is massive, and it's massive. It's not just the immediate impacts. This is going to go on for years. It's going to affect future generations from the stress and from the fears.
And Ruby, when did all this start for you? When did it start making you feel really bad?
Probably January, maybe. It got a lot worse in January, but it's been going on for a while.
And what happened in January that started you feeling, a lot worse than previously?
Well, the thing is, it was raining
Well, we got asked to for our exemptions wherever we went. I mean, our vaccination passports wherever we went. I can't really see my friends that much anymore if they want to go some places. I can't work anymore. Yeah.
So are you feeling really discriminated upon?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how are your friends handling this? Are they feeling really bad as well?
Two of my friends have actually had reactions from the jab, and
Yeah, so actually, let's talk about that. So one of Ruby's friends is having a medical problem that may or may not be because of the jabs. It is it could be linked. But at TAFE, which is where Ruby goes to do her schooling now, because school couldn't accommodate her medical needs, unfortunately it's happened the same class, and the teacher now can't teach that class because of the trauma and so the first week Ruby actually dealt with this young girl having seizures and stuff, and Ruby dealt with it fine because we've got a child with epilepsy, so we do seizures. But then the second week that really took its toll, and now the teacher doesn't even do that class because it took such an impact on the teacher, who only did deal with it obviously both times, but they didn't deal with it as much as Ruby did.
So when you're dealing with all these people that are asking you for exemptions and say the medical staff, the school staff, are they treating you with compassion, would you say?
Depends on the place. Sometimes yes, sometimes not really. Sometimes people are very condemning almost, my mental health is pretty bloody good. I do a lot of work on my own mental health, luckily, because I couldn't have dealt with any of this if I wasn't okay. But certainly it's not been a free ride because it's impacting. And if you go to a place that people are kind about it, we were in Kmart one day and a customer was yelling at another customer about them wearing it under their nose. And that is traumatic, and that's not okay. The Kmart people were fine about it. They were really nice, and they told this lady that's not okay. So, you see good and bad in everyone. You see, well, not everyone, but you see the really good and you see this really other side, and it's just not okay. It's not. That's not the world that's not Australia. That's not what I believed we lived, and our culture and our values.
We've all got to just try and not change anyone's mind, but just give people the facts. And if you want to get onto the Facebook page or whatever page, Telegram page, hit me up and I'll give you the links. I have probably 1,000 different links on not only I've got over 150 studies done, I think about 135 or something, studies done on masks and why they are inefficient, and a few say that they're dangerous. And they are peer reviewed studies. Then you've got the National Geographic. So, I mean, make light of it all you will, but it's a pretty serious thing. This is not about getting the mask off our kids. This is about getting off the primary age kids. It's about getting them off all of our kids. My 12-year-old daughter went to school for 3 weeks wearing a mask, and I was wild. So I actually went to the school and said, you know what? She's not going to school no more, and I'm keeping her home until the mask off. That day the mask was off her, the school gave her an exemption. Now I was supposed to not tell you about that. Why is that?
I heard something just yesterday about the fact of with the mask and the kids in year 3 not wearing them properly. And they were basically, the advice given was, well, it doesn't really matter then they're not wearing it properly because they're learning to wear one, because they're learning to comply. Okay? We're here because we love our children, simple as that. They think this is about controlling our children, teaching them that compliance is the way to go. Well, hell no, not a chance. Not a chance in the world.
How many of you people took your kids to the beach on the long weekend? Okay. Did you notice that the virus only operates about 50 metres from salt water? You can go to Cottesloe Beach, you can swim with it and run around without your mask, even your kids can. But when you cross that road back to get the fish and chips, hey, you've got to put your mask on. Your kids will tell you how stupid that is.
After yesterday we went to go bowling and yeah, we weren't allowed in. So Alex got something to say on that, how he felt. It was a bit out there, wasn't it, mate?
We had to be double vaccinated to be able to play bowling.
My missus actually broke down out the front because we're not allowed in. So I can imagine what it was like all the years ago, like when all this segregation, we're not even segregated, we're excluded. We're just excluded, full stop. So it's got to stop.
Well, I'm happy to do my job and walk through as one person and get them. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, get one person who can't be able to without a mask first.
I've got exemptions, all right. I'm good. Thanks, mate.
Actually, so have I. I've got an exemption. I've got an exemption
stopping me from going into a public building even though I have the right documentation.
No, so I'm here just to stop people from going without a mask.
I have the documentation.
Yes, so that's still my job, mate.
Would you? Oh, no worries. I'll do my job. Here we go. Right.
And I'll do my job.
This is my job. This is my job.
Behind the secret is this building here. The one inside there. That's the one inside. When you're talking about the rightful custodian owners, here they settle it in. They've got my grandfather's documents right there.
For a private company. A private company is keeping me out of a public building even though I have the correct documentation.
We want justice!
No mask. There you go. Problem solved. No. You gave a problem, we've got a solution. Your problem was no mask. He's got a mask. We've got the solution, my friend. You would be not. You are breaking the law.
Hey! There's nothing I can do.
Yeah,
I've just
you
been
can do
told.
your job. You can do your job.
I am doing my job. My job is to stop people coming through.
Right, one person coming through. One
No, because
person.
you guys are all here.
Well, I will take. Okay, so if I take, hang on, wait. If I take everybody out, there to that area, then Jez go in on his own. So you're denying access full stop.
Unless you're here to pick up documentation for the department or documentation.
That's what he's doing.
Not for what you're doing at the moment.
So what you're saying is, free speech.
Let me speak to you. I work for Wilson Security.
Yes, you work for Wilson Security.
They've asked me to be here.
Yeah.
So you guys coming all at me is not going to solve the situation.
No, you need to do your job.
I am
And
doing
you're not
my
doing
job.
your job.
I am my
No,
job.
you are denying parents access to an organisation that's supposed to educate our children.
Well, we're here at the Education Department where the organisers today do have some paperwork that they wish to serve on behalf or on the Education Department. However, what's happening is the security, the private security firm Wilson Security, is preventing anyone from access. They originally said it was because a few people weren't wearing a mask, despite some people, like myself, having a lawful medical exemption. That wasn't good enough. Then someone went to put a mask on. They were then refused access, even with a mask on. So now what they've done is they've given the documents to the kids, the 10 and 11-year-olds. I think some are younger than that. And as we can currently see, even a bunch of kids are being refused access to the building.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
Don't lie to us. Now, the fact.
So have you got any comment for what's going on here?
No, I don't.
You got nothing to say about this?
I'm just doing my job.
Can you tell me what's happening?
I'm really grossly upset right now. We've come here in the best legal way we can think to. We have all the evidence gathered so we can hand over and they can consider our point of view. They're refusing downright to open the door to anyone, whether it be a mask wearer, a child under the age of year 3 who doesn't have to wear a mask, whether it be a mask exemption holder. They're refusing to open the door. The WA police are here watching this happen, saying they've got no restriction to do anything. So I just wonder who is in charge of the law here, because this is out of control. Shame on you! It's up on you! Shame on you! Shame on you!
Martin, can you tell me what's going on here at the moment?
Well, my friend Jazza came here with all the paperwork, all the documentation to show that this thing was a load of crap. All the research is done. I've got paperwork here in front of me too, where 1,000 doctors here in Australia have come together and put sent a letter to Scott Morrison, Michaela Cash and Greg Hunt about all the adverse reactions. Look, I've got them all here. Pfizer, all from Pfizer, all the adverse reactions. They printed off 35 pages yesterday, had to go out publicly. Got them all in here in my hand. This crap is full of poison. Graphite oxide, mRNA. And these people here won't even come to their own, let one person in to show them the paperwork.
They are cowards. Right there, through this building, what they're doing is they're saying right now that their pay packets are more important than our children.
Bring Sue down! Bring Sue down! Bring Sue down! Bring Sue down! Bring Sue down!
We're outside the Education Department right now, and they're not letting us in on the grounds that we are unmasked, so we're not allowed in the building. When one of us produced a mask, we were further not allowed entry. So that's what we've got. We're shouting now to bring Sue down because we want to talk to the head of this office. We'd like someone official to actually come and speak to us to, address us.
I think that what the government is doing is a travesty. It's been proven that re-breathing in carbon dioxide kills off brain cells. You breathe in your own exhaust fumes. So you are actually lowering your immunity because you breathe in carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a potent acid. It turns into H plus in the blood, and H plus lowers your immunity. It also makes you ketoacidotic. So we are actually precursing ourselves to diseases like diabetes, diabetic ketoacidosis. You are lowering your immune system by rebreathing in those noxious gases. So we are doing this to kids from the age of 7, 8 years old. What is the legacy we are leaving them with? Are we going to sit in 10, 20 years' time with adults who have acquired brain injuries because they've been forced to rebreathe carbon dioxide for hours and hours and hours per day? What is that injury doing to our kids who are growing up, whose brains needs oxygen?
My daughter has to go in now to wear an unvaxxed tag. My grandsons and grandchildren here have to wear a mask wherever they got to go. But I try and teach them and educate them. They don't need this.
The part about this here is no matter what, if you're unvaxxed going to a hospital in a critical condition, you should not be left aside because you're unvaxxed. When you're vaxxed, you're seen to as being an urgent matter. Unvaxxed or unvaxxed has now become the new thing of white versus black.
Kim March, what have you just witnessed here outside of the Education Department in Western Australia?
Disdain for the people, actually. Complete disdain for the people. From people peering through their office windows in masks, enslaved to this regime, basically, and a freedom of people outside. Just taking their freedom back. And no one has the guts to come to the door.
Not even for the children?
Not even for the children, yeah.
How does that personally make you feel?
I'm disgusted, actually. It's just disgust, I think, from... you're looking at, it's a regime, isn't it? It's a regime and psychosis, a mass psychosis in these government buildings, right? It needs pulling down. It needs pulling down completely. We need to take it to ground zero.
What do you think the underlying reason for people going along with this is?
The brainwashing of the mainstream media. Yeah, totally. If they told the truth, this would be all over in a second. So, we need to cut the ties between mainstream media and the government and have some truth come through and let people decide how to handle, make decisions whether they're going to wear a mask, a nappy on their face or not.
Any comment on the 41 million that of tax cuts that the WA state government gave to the media organisations?
Well, that was a purchase, I guess. It was a purchase for the COVID narrative, which has gone extremely well for them, hasn't it? Because we're not hearing the truth, only from you guys. That's it. We're seeing the narrative falling apart in other parts of the country. So it's crumbling.
Hi, Andrew here. As you can imagine, it's only a matter of time before we're censored off YouTube. Therefore, if you could please go over to Rumble and follow us there as well, that'd be amazing. Also, if you like our content, please consider supporting us at buymeacoffee.com/Bellman Report. With just $2 a month, you have no idea how much that'll go towards keeping us afloat. Thank you, and I hope you liked the video.